forgot to say what I was
How
saying
about
about
you
Trump.
actually answer
What he said yesterday.
You can answer the question, and we can have a substantive conversation on the issues, or you can keep saying my name. Pick one.
In this episode of Piers Morgan Uncensored, Tim Pool goes on and absolutely demolishes this woke leftist girl, right? He argues heavily. There's a heated debate. She accuses him of a lot of things we're going to be going into in today's video. So let's get into it.
Namiki, what do you want?
Guess what? You're not the host. Okay. Donald Trump yesterday said that he would use the military.
If you want to answer the issues, answer the issues.
I know this works for you to talk over women because you're used to an audience of 90% males, but let me speak. Let me speak. If we're talking about misogyny, then maybe we should talk about misogyny and have a woman talk about misogyny. Donald Trump yesterday said that he was going to use the military against political enemies. Donald Trump said that he was going to challenge the election after he already challenged the election. These are things authoritarians do. I'm not using the H word. I'm using authoritarian and what's at risk. When you have Dick Cheney, who I have nothing in common with, siding with Bernie Sanders in this election because they fear that our democratic world is at stake, that the world order as it is, as imperfect and flawed as it is at stake because there is foreign interference. Yeah, I do think that's worth mentioning because Trump goes against everything that's pro-America. He didn't even, he didn't want to support the immigration bill and he blocked it. Inflation began to increase under him. We can't forget that. Manufacturing did not succeed as he promised in 2016 when he ran on that. And no, actually, the economy wasn't better under him. Go look at 2020 economic numbers, and they were horrible. And we have inflation going down. We have Wall Street is doing better than it's ever been. Wages are up at record rates now, finally. I mean, unemployment is at a record low. This is real. These are real issues, and Kamala is presenting issues to invest in small businesses, to expand Obamacare, which is hurting so many small businesses. I mean, she actually does have an economic plan, and Donald Trump is just talking about using the military against political enemies.
Okay, but the interesting thing is that despite that big speech you just made, it is completely neck and neck. Trump's ahead in 5 of the 7 key swing states because people simply don't believe that Kamala Harris has done a great job with the economy. And when it comes to the southern border, she was the border czar.
Piers Morgan makes some very, very valid points at this point in the argument. We've already had 3+ years of the Kamala Biden-Harris administration. We've seen what the economy has looked like. A lot of the points that she made earlier, honestly, are not completely true. And the American people see that, which is why it's so neck and neck, especially nearing the election.
And everyone on the left was quite happy to call her that, right to the point it became a millstone when she got coronated. And they realised it was embarrassing to be having responsibility for such a complete fiasco, whichever side of the divide you're on. Tim, your response now to Namiki.
Well, I mean, if we've got issues to discuss in terms of how we can help this country move forward, what we think the issues in the election are, how they're going to affect who votes for Kamala or Trump, I think that's what we should be talking about. The only reason I began to counter what she was saying was because she keeps bringing me up for some reason, and I'm not a politician. I'm some dude who complains on the internet for a living.
Right. Yeah, I think that's a perfectly fair response.
But was paid by the Russians, though. That's important.
That's just made up.
I'm sorry.
Now, at this point in the argument, she throws a left hook and sort of starts to accuse Tim Pool of being paid by Russia, which is a pretty big accusation. And we can see how she tries to back it up and how Tim Pool responds.
So, Wajahat makes an interesting point about disinformation.
Go on,
and
Tim.
I think it's, I think it's fascinating that instead of just saying, is Tim right or wrong? I think actually my opening assessment on this was an inherent misogyny in this country, which is a negative impact on Kamala Harris. For some reason, she just turns it into attack on me and then says it's Russian disinformation. Okay, I don't know, what is it? Is there racism and sexism in this country?
Where this misogyny comes from, and there's a lot of disinformation funded by Russia, and I think that's important to mention. So, and you have a primarily male audience.
Piers, can I say something?
Yeah, it's bringing in Vajah, yeah.
Sure. It's not TDS when General Milley, the former top general who's retired, openly said that Donald Trump is a, quote, total fascist. It's not TDS when Donald Trump literally over the weekend said he will unleash the military against U.S. citizens. It's not TDS when Donald Trump last week in Aurora openly said that he will invoke the Alien Sedition Act that interned Japanese Americans during World War II. This is not TDS when he, to this day, refuses refuses. He's been asked multiple times, will you accept the 2024 results? He's not said yes each and every single time. He still does not accept the 2020 results. And he said, his words, that he will be a dictator for a day and he will terminate the Constitution. It is the failure of corporate media and also social media and also several influential people on YouTube for the past 4 years have not raised the threat and have done a both sides analysis where we've given Donald Trump a pass and promoted hateful talking points and conspiracy theories. And yes, some individuals and outlets have been paid by Russia. It has been confirmed. They have been unwitting agents of Russia, whether they realize it or not. Tim Pool and a lot of his friends, unfortunately, this is true. Now, I don't know if Tim knew it. He says he didn't. But this is the disinformation that has come out in the past 4 years, which is why, in part, Piers, there is such lack of information and knowledge about the facts,
all right, well, listen,
which is why so many voters think that Donald Trump won the 2020 election.
Listen. For the purpose of... Okay, hang on, Tim. Just to be clear, Vajra, it's a two-way street, this rhetoric line that you peddle about this stuff, because when you persistently call, as the left have for 8 years now, Trump the new Hitler, I'm afraid that is the kind of
I didn't say that word.
Well, I'm not saying you did. I'm just saying a lot on the left have.
J.D. Vance did. His own vice president.
And I've already said what I
America's
think of that, right? What I'm saying is when they say that about him, unfortunately, that is about as extreme as you could possibly be in terms of rhetoric. You're likening him to someone who killed 12 million people, including perpetrating a Holocaust on Jewish people that killed 6 million of them. And that does lead to deranged minds trying to kill him, as we've seen repeatedly in the last 3 months. So this idea that somehow the Democrats rise above this hyperbolic rhetoric. Anyway, you made an allegation against Tim there, which is that he was being used by Russia to promote disinformation. Tim, your response?
So this is the struggle, right? We are beset on all sides with disinformation, and it comes from everybody, either on purpose or on accident. Someone might see a story, they assume it's true. If someone's only watching MSNBC, they're going to live in a particular world. If someone's only watching Fox News, it's quite the same. The one thing I can say is that I never received a penny from Russia. That what you're referring to, and I hope you guys read the indictment, there's limited things that I can say in this as the victim in what's going on. And so what we're dealing with is three layers of investment through shell companies. A company that I produce a show for received money from another American-based company that at some point, according to an indictment, allegedly received money from Hungarian shell companies, which came, they allege, from Russia. None of this is confirmed. These are all allegations, and my company has never done business with Russia nor received money from Russia. This is just not the case. In fact, there's not much I can say as the victim, and we are cooperating with the DOJ. There's not much more to be said. No. But if you're going to come on a show like this, and then you're going to just repeat these false talking points while accusing others of disinformation without having done the legwork, I've not said anything disrespectful to either of you guys on the panel, but you keep throwing fake things at me, and I don't know why. In fact, I think I agree with both of you on a lot of what you did say. Instead, I'm sitting here, and Wajra, this is not directed at you because I actually agree with you quite a bit on what you said. But I don't know why I'm the subject of this and why you keep bringing this up while claiming disinformation is a problem and then not doing research to figure out what is true or what isn't.
Now, Tim Pool defends himself very well here. If anything, I'd say he destroyed the argument that this woman was trying to bring up. And he also made an extremely valid point. When she keeps preaching about, and especially the Kamala Harris Biden administration keeps preaching about misinformation, not falsifying information, giving the facts, speaking the truth, and then she comes on here from her side and just accuses Tim Pool of taking money from Russia, which is a pretty big accusation, without really having any evidence to back it up, or just basic unorthodox evidence that isn't probably very much true, is a pretty big contradiction to her argument. Unfortunately, this seems to be a reoccurring thing with this side of the argument, especially with the Kamala Harris administration. Nearing the election, they're just constantly attacking Trump, bringing up and using whatever they can, even if it's not necessarily directly true, to try to negate his ability to be a president. Now, of course, that's a lot of politics. A lot of politics is just yelling at each other, trying to make the other look as bad as possible. And Tim Pool, with this specific argument, does a great job of actually clarifying this and showing the contradiction that she has as she's actively attacking him. And if anything, I'd go as far and say that he very much demolished her within this interview. So that's where we're going to end it off here on today's video. I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts in the comments below. What do you guys think about Tim Pool and his opinion? And especially with this woman, who do you think won this specific argument? And overall, your opinions, especially nearing this election.